technology. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, this is a humble request to put your mobile phones in silent mode and prepare yourselves for an enlightening session. Cut it! Hindi cinema isn't just a reflection of life. For many, it is life itself. The stories, the icons, the dances, the scenes. Oh, the songs. Their songs are not just songs, they look like philosophies of life. In celebration of this incredible institution, Google Arts and Culture presents a nostalgic trip back in time to revisit our favorite moments in Hindi cinema.
This is an academic to how India reflects very strongly in the cinema story.
Explore a unique retrospective of expertly curated content, rare images in high resolution, interviews with industry legends, virtual tours of iconic spaces, and behind the scenes chronicles. An experience that's immersive, inspiring, and occasionally melodramatic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to you all for the Google Masterclasses and In Conversation session. The masterclasses and In Conversation sessions are being conceptualized and conducted by International Film Festival of India in collaboration with Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute. We also take this opportunity to thank Google for sponsoring the sessions. This year, we are conducting more than 20 sessions consisting of masterclasses and in conversation sessions. In this session, we will be discussing the road to Oscars. This session is meant to unravel the mystery with the help of those who have either won the Oscar themselves or know how the system works. In this session, we will be joined by Ms. Gurneet Manga, Mr. Carter Pitcher, and Mr. Resul Pookutty. Please put your hands together for our esteemed panel. May I please have Ms. Gurneet Manga, Mr. Carter Pitcher, and Mr. Resul Pookutty. Please take a seat. We are thankful to all the panelists for joining us today, who took out their precious time from their busy schedule. Please also welcome on stage Ms. Sonal Kalra, the Chief Managing Editor for Entertainment and Lifestyle at Hindustan Times, for moderating this session. I now would like to request Sri Prithul Kumar, Festival Director and Managing Director, NFDC, to please come on stage and felicitate the dignitaries. And Ms. Vandana Kumar will be accompanying our festival director. Please let's have a large round of applause. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I now request Ms. Sonal to please start the session.
Thank you so much. Good evening, good people. Can I see some smiles and some cheer in the audience because I'm very, very sure that this is going to be a very exciting session. And I'm not saying this out of my own account, but by the sheer prowess of the people that I have the privilege of having on this panel. And they say that a million dreams start and end at Oscar Awards. And this session is particularly relevant if there are aspiring filmmakers who are sitting over here because we have the winners and we have a person who decides who the winners are. So we cannot have a more better placed panel than what we have over here for you all to learn and take some lessons from the discussion and the masterclass that these people have to give us. Resul, the pride of India, of course, and Slumdog Millionaire is, I think, what started the dreaming process in a lot of us. Gurneet Manga, of course, the latest flavor of the season, the Elephant Whisperers. In fact, one is so impressed when you talk to Guneet, and I've had the privilege of doing that. I was, in fact, Guneet, you were so nicely, your style quotient showed a few mini elephants every time you were promoting and talking about the Elephant Whisperers. I thought maybe for this we might just have some Oscar trophy on your side. And we have the honor of having Carter Pilrich with us, where it is genuinely an honor because here is a man who's not just a corporate honcho, the chief executive of Shorts TV, and I'm sure being film students, etc., you know of it already. But he's also on the jury of both the Academy and the BAFTA. So please give a big round of applause to Carter. We get into all aspects of where the road to Oscar takes us. But let me address the elephant in the room right away because this is a question that I've been meaning to ask of everyone. And I'm sure somebody would resonate here with me. Should the road genuinely lead to Oscars? Is Oscar Awards the be all, end all of a benchmark of a filmmaker having arrived? You all are winners and you've seen where your career has evolved after you got this. So, would you, in all honesty, say that this is it? Rasul, we'll start with you.
I won't say this is it. Um, I don't know. I mean, with all due respect, I don't know why are we so fixated about Oscars. Oscars, of course, is one of the highest achievement of recognition in filmmaking, and it's for American cinema. In a festival like this, we should be. I mean, I would rather discuss why our films are not in Cannes, why our films are not in Berlin, why our films are not in Venice, also in Oscars. So I don't think that Oscars is end of everything. But at the same time, having said that, is one of the most recognized, recognition all over the world for filmmakers. So in that sense, it's very very shining. It also to be able to be at the podium, you have to be exemplary, good, and creativity at your best. And I personally felt that once the American community see you as an artist and they will welcome you, you know, heaps and bounds. There's no nationality, there's no caste, creed, nothing. They just wholeheartedly welcome you. And to me, for that is an amazing, recognition and amazing feeling to be part of the community. And the fact that you are standing with some of the brightest creative minds, you are counted amongst one of those in the best in the industry, and they formulate things, they formulate theories, they formulate languages for the modern technological innovation of where today the celluloid art is going. So in all those respects, we are at the pinnacle of things. So in that way, yes, it's very shiny, very prominent, and it's very beautiful. And the statue is quite heavy.
What a lovely feeling it is to win one and hold one. And
I felt I was dead, went to the heaven, and came back. Even today, when I look at the video, I don't remember getting on the seat and going to the stage. I don't remember. I know Guneet had fallen flat. I didn't hear from her for 2 days. I said, what happened?
Hospitalized. Seriously, like seriously, yeah, yeah. Heart rate was so high that the whole night I spent at the Beverly Hospital. So, it's a very, it's a beautifully intense experience. I think like Palmadeor, we've never won a Palmadeor, which is at Cannes. Indian filmmakers never won Palmadeor. So,
Camera viewers.
yeah, so like Palmadeor, which is the highest award at Cannes, there is also Oscars, which we as filmmakers are rewarded for cinema. And for any press here, I want to say no money comes with Oscars. There is just so much um, um, lack of knowledge, and I'm glad you're here on a group talking about it. But it's a huge reward for filmmaking. It's an award for quality of filmmaking globally. The impact of English language films is global. A lot of studio films, English language films travel like superhero films. They travel around the world, right? So impact of an award in US has a global award. India is there or not there, but for years we have all woken up at 5 a.m., tuned in, and watched the ceremony. So as you enter the business, you dream of it, to being a part of the ceremony, to being a part in the stage, seeing it live. For me, it started in 2010, and I actually met Russell there. I was there with a short film called Kavi, and I was sitting on the fifth floor, and just everything was so small, but my dream was actually at that point of time, I couldn't even imagine winning. I was just like, whoa, we got nominated. And my dream was like someday I'll sit on the ground floor, you know, like I'll see everything up close. Then 2019 period end of sentence happened, and I was an executive producer on the shot, and we won. I held the trophy of a film that I participated in a big way. And then I was like, I need a trophy on my name, his name written on it. The 2023 was
it's getting more focused
yeah,
and
yeah,
focused.
absolutely. Your ask from the universe manifestation gets clearer. ये अपना वाला देखो ना, इसको अलग से अपना नाम. So 2023 of course held my own, which is at home, and it's a beautiful feeling. It's rewarding. It's years of doing independent cinema for me. Years of hearing, being put into boxes. You are international. You're art house. You're this. Nobody says you're good. Period. you know. So you keep getting put into a box. So sometimes you just have to be like, what is an what is 10 on 10? And that is enough.
Very well said. And On that matter, would you agree with Guneet that Oscars is 10 on 10? Well, you do. You're also on the jury of BAFTA. You live in the UK. You make films there, and therefore, is in your country, is there ever a question about is American validation or is an Oscar validation the most ultimate benchmark for a filmmaker?
I think I'm an originally, and I think probably all of us. One of the things that is most exciting about being a member of the family is, as Rasul was saying, this community really, people who love radio. And it's and probably the biggest part of the honor. Winning, I haven't won an Oscar, but I've distributed a lot of them, and we've worked very closely with films that have been nominated. And you can see that, but within the Academy of Motion Pictures, there isn't it's a very flat organization. We're a community of professionals, and everything is done by volunteers, and people spend a lot and are dedicated. And I think probably the greatest part of that is that personal dedication to maintaining the things in your life. I have to tell you a secret. And that is, when I first started coming to India, there were less than 10 members in the Academy of Motion Pictures from India. Rasul, who is an engineer like I was, is much more calculating than he is. And he got himself placed on diversity. He went through a process of increasing diversity and trying to bring the world into the academy rather than making it a world body. But secretly, and in that during that time period, Rasul was stuffing the academy full of new Indian members. We now have almost 400 members in the academy who are Indian. I think it's a really great. Nobody knows.
Well, this is amazing.
The time that I won the Academy Award, I mean, you won an Academy Award doesn't mean that you are an Academy member. Okay? So I won in 2009. I didn't become a member of the Academy. So my governor, Kevin O'Connell, which is the South Branch Academy governor, 2010, he heavily argued to the committee that we must have Rasul in our academy, and they selected me. And when I received that email that you've been selected as the academy, I was more than my joy was much more than when I won the Oscars. Because like right now, like we were discussing that we should get Nawaz into the academy. We should campaign and get to these two people get together and nominate his name. And so today we can think of doing that. Until like in 2015, 16, 17, around that year, that there was an argument about academy being white. Academy is so white. That's what I like about the community. They suddenly realize that, look, Academy is no more about American cinema. It's about global cinema. It's about global talent, bringing them together. And like you said, there were enormous number of people, and more than $1 million is spent in just educating students, holding workshops, mentoring programs. And every one of us who's part of every such program are voluntarily giving time. You would look at the calendar, they would be like maybe Spielberg or people of that kind, giving enormous amount of time on their own, just further. That we just don't want to stop at me being like an academy member or me being an academy award, but we want others to come forth and get them recognized. And that for me is the most beautiful thing. So then I was nominated into the Drivers Committee, and I served 3 terms, and then I went into the executive committee, and of course I ran for elections in the board of governors, but I never won. But I managed to get a lot of people into the academy, and a lot of paperwork.
Way lot.
Yeah, a lot of how many members are there in the academy? If they are
Overall,
ignorant.
They're right now about 9,000.
9,000. when I joined, it was bordering between 5,000 to 6,000. And on an average, every year we are taking like about 300 numbers.
Yeah.
You can imagine. So,
and now there are 400 Indians in the overall.
Thereabouts.
It's a huge jump.
Jump,
in just a
absolutely.
few- in just
From
a
there
few
being
years.
none to
From 5 to.
It's
And imagine
really-
the- the-
we had in 2018 we came and brought two governors. We had a meeting of all Indian members of the academy, and there were like that that were not it was really amazing. And so and I think as you look at because all of these festivals have different prizes, different things that they reward. But as you look at this kind of as a process, it's not none of us make movies just to win awards. We have stories we want, really great stories about elephants, stories about young girls, stories about dancing. They're amazing stories and
That's Slumdog.
But on that, Guneet, in fact, I want to ask you, I mean, he's mentioned the absolute right word. Storytelling is basically what gets us the award. There was a beautiful story, The Elephant Whisperers. At what stage of conceiving that film, making that film, showing that film to people, did the first thought of the fact that this could win an Oscar come into you?
I actually think my every film will win Oscar. So I start from there. I am on the other extreme of the हम तो bestie बना रहे हैं. So I actually start from there and assuming that, manifesting that from day one, and then I think how can I make this the best in the world? This movie is the best in the world, and what is the talent that I can attract? What is the advice that I can get to be able to be at par with the world? So I work actually very hard in elevating the journey of a film, of a filmmaker, and associating it with the right people or mentors or at the edit stage, at many at the script stage, at producing stage. We're always looking at it because filmmaking takes a village. It's not one person's. Yes, it's a vision, but that vision needs to be supported. And as a producer, it's my role to create space that allows world best filmmaking to happen. So I assume that from day one. And to every director, I'm just like, you know, if I mean, I'm also not disillusioned. There are films we make for India, there are films we make rooted here, but there are a lot of looking for global conversation like Lunchbox or Masan or Peter Anderson or Elephant Whispers. Um, there are there are scripts and movies that can be co-produced, that can the emotions are universal. So you plan, and I really, really want to tell this to all filmmakers that Oscar is not the last run. It's something that you start from the day go. That where is your movie going? Who is the audience for this film? If you're and there is no right or wrong answer. Your audience can be pan-India audiences. Your audiences can be non-diaspora, global audiences with Indians also as the audience. So if your audiences are non-diaspora, then what is your launch strategy? Where are you launching? Recently, I've produced a film called Kill. That is a genre film. It's an out and out action, India's most violent film. It's a 100-minute film with 90 minutes of non-stop action. I am fascinated by Raid and Sisu, the Korean film Sisu or the Indonesian film Raid, and I really want from the day we started the shoot, I wanted it to play at midnight section in Toronto. I just needed to that for that to happen to the film. Post that it's not in my hand, but I wanted to make it that good that out of the 10 films that they select, 10 films that they select, one is out. I really wanted day one premiere. It should be that good that we can get a premiere which is leading the festival. We did that. The festival started on 7th, it was premiere on 8th, and right after the premiere we had 8 offers shown around the world. And we were able to jump on those offers. We were able to it's the first Indian film that is being sold to Lionsgate. I sold Lionsgate for US utilities, and we've also told the whole world. It happened before with Lunchbox. Distribution is at the key. Awards come later. First is distribution. That is what even Tata does. Um, so innovating producing has been a lot of my journey. So yes, there are times when I see an edit and I think it can go all the way. And at that point of time, I start thinking, what are the partners that one needs to talk to? Who are the people? Because it takes time. You can't finish the film and then be like, now help me. And I only have 1 month. It's asking too much. When you let people who know more, who have seen more, participate and mentor in the journey so that you can land your highest chances of being shortlisted.
It's basically finishing the product at every stage possible. It's an
Decision
entire
making.
process.
Decision making at every stage. I saw the rough cut of period in the sentence. I knew this would go on. I didn't want to win, but I felt that this will go. It is an intuitive thing that will come. I still know it in my bones that Lunchbox would have been shortlisted, would have been nominated. I don't know if it would have won. It never got nominated. It never got selected from the India committee. But I know it in my bones, and the feedback that you get from press, from on your journey, on your vegetables, that it will go all the way with voters will push it forward to get shortlisted and then nominated, and even that is a very very big deal because then you're in top five from around the world.
And, and it's here, Carter, that I would want you to, in the simplest possible terms, if you could, just tell us the steps that it takes for a film to be considered, or what is it that, so there may be very talented filmmakers over here, and confident ones like Guneet, and very sure that their product is deserving of of reaching there. What are the steps that a film has to go through?
Sure. We deal with short films. I came in to filmmaking and really could never finish a feature film. I just didn't have the attention span, and I decided short films are really the art form that I love. And one of the things, in our question earlier, one of the things that I loved about being in the academy is the academy members. All of us treat each art form, whether it's a documentary film, a short film, or a feature action film, or a Marvel's film, or any of them. They're all fabulous art forms and artists working to fulfill their potential. The, so I know the short film process very well. Short films are slightly different because it is difficult to get them distributed theatrically. So for a short film, you have to win an accredited prize at a festival or get released in a theater in the United States, which is difficult. If you win an accredited prize, you go onto a list, and the year for short films closes out in October. Features have to be released in the United States, and then they're all considered. Every feature that's released in the United States is considered for is possibly considered for any of the other countries. And that process is for the shorts and many of the other categories, animations and documentary, feature documentaries. The branches each set the standards. So the sound branch sets their standards, the documentary branch sets their standards, the short film branch and the animation branch set their standards. And really the branches are like little guilds. They're totally responsible for everything about their award and their art form. And there's a shortlisting process. Each branch has a slightly different way they do it. The actors have one way, the sound guys have another, documentaries have another. Shortlists all come out either the end of the year or the very beginning of the new year. That's the best picture. That's January, and then this year, the coming year, January 23rd. Then we all vote on the shortlist if it's a shortlisted category. Then the nominations are selected by the branch. So the sound branch selects sound and music and that song. And then we present all of the other members, all of our selections. So our best 5 short films that we have in our branch have all looked at and argued about and voted for. And the best documentary shorts, and the rest are documentary features. Each branch recommends them to the rest of the Academy, and all of those nominations are announced together on the 23rd of January. And then there's about 6 weeks of campaigning, wearing elephant dresses,
Yeah.
and then on the 10th of March this year is the actual televised. Anybody votes up until a couple of days before, Tuesday before voting closes, and until that point, and at that point, no one knows anything. You get that? Maybe. But I would say that most of us are wrong. If, in fact, my rule of thumb is I love Guneet's film, so I assume it's not going to win. Just that I think maybe I had the wrong taste or something because I've been wrong for him. But it did. And so sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
We all have.
No, absolutely. We'll come to, in fact, those grueling last stages where hectic campaigning, etc., happens. But Rasul, he mentioned that the very eligibility requires, let's say, for a feature film in particular to be released in the United States. So again, that brings us to the moot point of whether international collaborations from the very starting stage of a feature film or an Indian feature film is really the key to. So, for instance, Slumdog Millionaire was, it was made for the international audiences. You had all in all departments. It was an Indian film, but an international Indian film.
British film.
It was a British film. Yeah, it was a British film, but it was showing India to the international audience. True, true.
Which is also a cost.
Absolutely. So the point here is that do you feel that for a film to actually have realistic chances, there needs to be an international collaboration to begin with?
No, I don't think so. So it's like this when it was talking about how she plans and right from the day one she knows where to take it. I mean that kind of thinking and planning actually scares me. Uh, I can't think that far. Okay, when we were making Slumdog, we never thought that Slumdog will go this way. We were just making a film, a beautiful film that we all thought it would be one, and we all thought it's quite a new way of looking at life in India. And Slumdog never got a release. It was supposed to be a DVD release because we didn't get any release anywhere. It was supposed to be going on DVD. Then the week before it goes into DVD, we had one release, one like one theater. And first day it was two shows, and the third day it became five. Fourth day it became 25. By evening it becomes 75. That's how it grew, and it went on to become the biggest sensation. You know, and nobody bought it. Like one of us didn't buy it. But when I saw the first on like the eighth draft, when Danny came back to India and showed it to all of us, and took all our inputs. When I saw it, I felt like it is like City of God. It is something like that. There is something in it which I couldn't put my finger to it. And in that year I was working in LA with for another Indian film that I was working. I was doing some recording works in LA, and I was very apologetic to telling my guys, my friends, I have done a small film. It's called Slumdog Millionaire. When it comes, please come and watch it. And that year, I very well remember there was a MPSC show, which is a Motion Picture Sound Editors Guild. Every year they pick up the biggest film, the best sounding film. And in that year it was Batman Forever. So Richard King was the sound designer, and our favorite composer, forgot his name. They all were there in Chinese theater. We all had a presentation and all that. And I went and met him and all that. And I never knew 3 months down the line I'm going to be contesting him on an Oscar. You know, so it was that crazy. We never imagined anything. We never planned anything. It just happened.
Had
No,
an
just
destiny of its own.
But
it just happens.
but I just wanted, on your question about co-productions, I just wanted to remind us of this year. This year, in my office, one of my guys, this is in London, comes in, we do short films. He says, "There's this film on Netflix, you better go watch." I said, "Well, what's that?" He said, "You like Indian?" right? I said, yeah. He said, it's called RRR. I said, like, what, like RRR? And he said, yeah, it's like the letters RRR. And I said, but that can't be the title of the movie. That's just like, yeah, it's random letters. He said, no, you have to watch it. So I watched it. It was fantastic. It was a total Indian film. Uh, I mean, it had one. The amount of co-production was what there were three, four British people in the movie, and it was fabulous. And I think audiences because of that are becoming more educated. So RR was in theaters. It was hugely popular. Like, people watch it everywhere. And I think co-productions are not as now. I mean, Guneet was a, I mean, Guneet considers himself half American, probably.
No, I'm fully Indian, and in fact, Elephant Whispers was a fully Indian production and the first Indian production to win Oscar. Period End of Sentence was a co-production.
That
But
was a good one.
that is a co-production because it was US and India. But I'm a proud Indian, and I can go there for a bit, win the awards, and it's all great. But you know, the joy is coming out. So, in fact, to your answer, you know, it's more nuanced. You can never plan awards. You can just make the best project, you know, and as a producer, that's always the greed to make the best project, and that's the steps that one entails. We had no idea about Elephant Whispers. And we just got shortlisted. You know, we done a few festivals and then we released on 8th of December and we were shortlisted on 21st of December. And the other films that were on have been doing year-round of festivals and were doing year. So, you know, I think at some point of time, quality, some kind of strategy, there was no such strategy, but we released on 8th of December on Netflix. I really, really, you know, with this stage, with people here and here at PPA, I really wanted to break this down and say there is one thing for shorts, there is one thing for features. And in features, I did a campaign for all the mainstream categories. Um, so in features, there are two ways of entering. You can be nominated from the country for one award, which is the best foreign language film. And then you compete with the best foreign language film from around the world. Now, for that to effectively happen, I think a lot of education needs to happen within our country on what to send and why to send. So the key of this is distribution in Europe. It is not just about doing one cinema release, you know, and just getting nominated or just putting that tick. I think if we can just put that word out there in bold, films that are distributed in US have a higher chance of going forward, winning, or at least getting shortlisted. At least it's getting real, at least getting nominated. Because you have to understand the voting is absolutely democratic. Not one person decides it. And voters are around the world now with the diversity. They're around the world and they hear and see titles. We spend a lot of time as Academy on the titles, but there are also titles that pop for years. The one that works in Sundance or one that pops at, you know, there are 300 films that go to Toronto. But you know the 10 films that have, you know, really worked and sold and done business and, you know, have won awards at Cannes, at Sundance, at all BFI, you know, and those films have a chance of going forward. Firstly, why were they selected as the festival? Because they were good from their country. The programmers have a job to find the best in the country. They got into the festival because they are celebrated, because they're very good in their craft. So now that when they're selected at a prestigious film festival like Cannes, Toronto, BFI, Busan, it's great. It's a step forward when you're talking to a global market. Then, step two, did it win an award there? Step three, did it get distribution? Did it get American distribution? Then that is the key, the film that you push from your country. Uh, you can't, you can't, I actually feel years we've not been We've not been doing this right. And I really like to put that out there. That knowledge is very, very important. There's a system to this. What usually happens is a film that gets nominated from India, is selected from India, and suddenly the team is just like in October or in September, in October or September, in October from India is like now we have to run a campaign and get shortlisted and so on. It's never going to happen. It's just the truth. I'm sorry if my words hurt, but it's the truth. And if I can't say it to my people, then when will I say it? So having that knowledge is really important. And in 2 months, to build a campaign is very difficult. It's next to impossible.
But what I hear you say is that
It's 100 countries.
yeah, the scale then in that case is again very, very important for a film to.
It's not
So
scale.
the distribution
It's
would
not scale.
require a certain a level, a film to come to a certain level. So you're saying that the committee that selects the Indian official entry also needs to take this into account in terms of optimizing on the chances that a film may have.
Optimizing on the chances of getting shortlisted, yeah, or moving forward is your first rule should be did it do any festival. That means it has traveled outside of our market and gone and traveled to various festivals, any festival. Did it win awards? In what category? How did it perform? So why did it go to a festival? Because it is something new, something different, a genre or something. What I'm trying to say is that there is a rule of festival today, which is highlighting a movie. And that is why festivals are really important in the scheme of things. Awards happen after you premiere. Distribution happens after your premiere for around the world for foreign language titles. It can be art house, it can be RRR, even popular cinema. But if they have the legs to do that campaign, they have done a mainstream US distribution. It is at the key of we're running for an American award. So there is a
It's very logical that something.
so that I'd like that logical conversation to rather than I've been a part of the committee and when in India, in the conversation here is through our knowledge of what we think it is best. But one has to zoom out a little bit and see what is best for this award, an American award.
Practical point that she
I,
takes.
I have a point to make. I beg to differ with Gurneet Manga, with all the due respect. Now, when we send a movie for the Oscars, are we sending a movie to win the Oscars, or are we sending a movie that truly represents Indian cinema? The question, you know. And let's imagine, let's understand there are two kinds of cinema in this country. Okay, every country is known from the music it listens to. The music it listens to. Okay, what is the music the whole of India generally listen to? It is the film music. Every other country in the world has their own music industry. Especially if you take the West, they have pop culture, they have rock stars. So their music stars are much bigger, much higher, and they are constantly supplying the music that the country needs. Okay, so the music industry and film industry are two separate entities all across the globe, except India. So in India, a filmmaker is also owning the responsibility of supplying music to the majority of Indians in this country. So it actually creates two kinds of cinema. Okay, out of the 1,200 movies that we make every year, 7 to 8% of the films are commercial, big ticket success. 7 to 8%, imagine. And out of those 1,200 movies, maybe less than 10 or maybe 10, maybe less than 20 films that come from all the regional spectrum of the country are original movies. When I say truly and honestly original movies, you know. So India by itself poses so much of challenge in identifying which of these 20 movies or 10 movies from 12 out of the 1,200 movies to represent India. I mean, let me take a very specific example of me talking about Lunchbox. Lunchbox had its own. Lunchbox didn't get selected from India as its entry. But in that year, there's a small film made by NFDC, a Gujarati film, called The Good Room, went to the Oscars. Okay, it had no chance. But the committee picked up that film instead of a Lunchbox. The Lunchbox was also an independent film, independent production, filmmaker, producer, independent film. Good Road was also an independent film. So these two independent filmmakers were fighting each other. Okay, that we didn't get the chance. But I felt that year the committee had taken a very decisive decision that we have to send a film which committee. I mean, every committee is a quasi judicial decision. They felt this is the film that we should send this year. You know, irrespective of the fact that whether it win or don't win, but this is the film that should represent the country this year. I think that is a huge philosophical decision, which the diversity of this country and the polemics of filmmaking in this country, understanding all that, it's a huge decision. And I stand by that decision. It doesn't have to be looked at. I mean, Triple R had its own veracity and its own power, muscle power, money power to go and run for Academy Awards because all the mainstream cinema that is releasing today, whether it's Telugu film, Tamil film, Malayalam film, Hindi films, all those films that are releasing, they are also having a US, UK, Canada, Australia, GCC country releases. So we are eligible to be at the Oscars if you have the money power to do the campaign. But now, last year we had 170 films from all across the globe in the foreign film category. Now, looking at all that, selecting, I don't think films that are getting selected in the foreign film category needs a huge campaign. I'll tell you the selection process. I've been in the committee, I've been in the judging committee quite a few number of times, and it's a 4 tier process. Last year we had 176. It's a huge thing. So we had a 3 tier process. So a committee divided into 4 categories, A, B, C, D, and each one of us would be each of these categories voluntarily join as the jury members. Would watch 15 films, and each committee will select 15 films, and then all of us will watch it together, then select the 15. So first 15 prepared like that. Out of the first 15, then comes the nomination. So once the nomination comes, then it goes for general voting. I think the campaign is only required when it is put it out for the general voting for in the foreign film category. So that's where the
But
campaign
Resul,
matters.
doesn't that, then Guneet's point becomes very logical that for anything and not just in a film awards, a country should send a candidate which has the maximum potential and chance to win, be it sports, be it
I
films.
don't agree with you. I don't agree with you because then what about a small little film which is made in an innate corner of India? Is chance to get represent India. It may not have traveled in the festivals. It may not have any other way. See, I am of the belief that, let me quote Rudy Khatak in this. Khatak said, the most nationalistic we become, the most nationalistic we become, the most universal we become. You know, and for me, it is the duty of all of us that contribute this whole filmmaking community in this country is to go and find that what is the most nationalistic idea that touches a universal chord.
Yeah, I think
That is what it is.
Can I,
starter.
I just wanted to say one thing. Because I have a slightly, I, I love and hate the International Foreign Language Film Award because I've been on the jury 2 or 3 times, and I think it is the most exhausting process of film watching that I've ever done in my life. It's so many films, and some of them are fabulous, and some of them it's interesting. But there are 23 awards. Now here are the stats. Every year There are 5 nominees in 22 categories and 10 or 15 nominees in the Best Picture. So about 125 nominees every year. In the last 20 years, there have been over 2,200 total nominees. India has had, of that, in any category, has had, since 2000, has had about 15 nominees and won 6 times, which is fabulous. But I think that as a community, a film community here, and I count myself there, I'm down at the ground level pushing young filmmakers up to make their best stories here. I think we should look at all of these and give some pushes so that we have more Guneet and more makers who did Little Terrorist a few years ago, live action film. I think there is a lot of really amazing and I'm less worried about the foreign language awards. I don't know that it always reflects that. It's harder. Whereas I think that all the other categories, there's so much richness in the Indian filmmaking right now that and the stories are fresh. Stories from India, stories from Korea, they're really interesting and new. Stories from India, stories from Korea, new and interesting to audiences in the West. They're bright and surprising. So I think maybe also the focus should also be on really tackling some of the other ones.
He's been waiting to
Yes.
counter.
Thank you.
No, 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 not a counter. I think we're all in space of sharing our opinions and experiences here. But it is a classic conversation of art and commerce, right? And I'm a producer. I look at both the aspects, supporting the art, leaning into the art, making sure that the art is in its purest form, retained, and the commerce bit of it, that it is well protected, it is guided, it has its maximum chances to perform. Um, what has maximum chances to perform? I mean, we have festivals to show the best of Indian cinema. For any filmmaker, if they are in one corner of India, I would encourage them to apply. I would encourage them to go to Cannes, to go to Toronto, to go to BFI, Zurich, incredible Telluride, Sundance, get into the mentorship program. I've built my career on that. I work as a producer in a hardcore equity market and I don't come from any money. My parents and I stayed in 5,000 rupees rented house and I'm a producer. So so I I have made the system work for only art house films. So I have not done any mainstream actor films, right? So I am not in the conversation of that. I'm in the conversation of beautiful, purest form, a lot of first-time directors, and a lot of first-time directors who are also trying to find their voice. So innovating the business has been at the core of my being and Picture Entertainment being. Lunchbox, the treaty with France was signed in 1985. India and France. We were the first one to use it in 2011. And to use a combination of subsidy money and a combination of equity money, we also had NFDC's money so that it can be also owned by the government of India. And it is a lot of paperwork across, insane amount of paperwork, insane amount of first time producing with no a peer group of sorts that one can pick up any advice on. So you're trying to do this also in 2011 and 12. And it's also an independent film. But one cannot be, we are, the ambition of winning an Oscar for a country is amazing. Like you said, be it a sport, there has to be a strategy. There has to be real math. What are the numbers? What are our odds? What is our competition? How do we even know what is our competition? The films that broke out, the Japanese films that broke out at a festival, will mostly go there. And a lot of voters, maybe in the France area and this area, would have heard about that title. So there is a strategy to that. So I think the mindset of what is India's best, does it have the legs? Will it be able to hire a PR? How are they doing it? You are going into an uncharted territory of getting votes. Who will come to the screening when you host a screening in LA? So having the umbrella of people who have done this 100 times before for the last 70, 80 years, which is distributors, which is US distributors, who make the most beautiful thing. I think Kumbhagali Nights would have traveled. I don't know if they didn't do any festival. I think would have gone all the way. I think we make extremely beautiful things. And then encourage the films to go to festivals. Encourage the film. We are having a very big conversation about reinventing distribution. We have a tendency of selling the whole world in India because we are a 100% equity industry. That is a huge challenge in front of us. Now, if you have sold the whole film to Sun TV, Z TV, Star TV, then you actually don't have space for an American distributor to come in or any other distributor to come in. The awards are run by the distributors. They have PR on their payroll. They've been doing this year on year and they do it on multiple titles. So they still have a lot of know-how, a lot of knowledge. And that's why the concept of partnership exists. So you share knowledge to put an Indian conversation forward. I can, there in 2 months, I cannot gain 50 films that they have done their knowledge in that 1.5, 2 months. I'm barely finding ground. And we are 100 of them from 100 countries. So just logically, which is the film that has the most amount of, because we are dealing with an award, we are dealing with a World Cup, we are dealing with a award, and it's a competition, so all those accounts need to be seen. And yes, Best of India needs to be represented for sure. But Best of India is also represented by winning awards at
Yeah,
various
I think
festivals.
Rasul's point is more about the heart needs to be at the right place to represent India truly, while those which have the potential to have legs of their own can manage to apply to other categories of their own, case in point being RRR. But
No, there are two things here. So, Monga being your friend, lovely, lovely producer, independent cinemas, Lata Mangeshkar, all that. She's beautiful. She's done. I mean, all what she has made it on her own. I'm very, very proud of her achievement. And I am one of the person who predicted her that she was not even willing to believe.
Yeah, he
Anyway,
called me and he said, no, it's not, there's Malala opposite her. She's doing such a strong campaign. That you're going to win. Just shut up.
and so coming back to what she said, just taking moti points. Very early stages of filmmaking, somebody called filmmaking is a fascist art. You know, who is that? Somebody, somebody.
Somebody wiser than us.
The theorists, there are theorists sitting here. You could ask them. I think it's Andre Bazin who called it's a fascist art. So where is it fascism? It's actually distributors' fascism. It is they are the one who is sitting and deciding what film we should watch. I do not agree with that fascism of the distributors when the queen of independent cinema, she says distribution is the one who is eventually going to decide the awards runs, or we need to have that in mind when we select a particular film. I do not agree with that. But I agree with her on some other points. Now, what is that we can do, right? Okay? How do we select, okay, this is the right film? I don't know, I'm going back to my original point. I don't know why are we fixated about Oscars. Okay? We don't have to win. We have to send the right film that we think this is what represents the true essence of India. That's all we need to know as a country of filmmakers. Now we can do two things to this. In that, some of the problems that Guneet is saying might get corrected. One, we need to have a committee before the film goes into the actual committee who decides voting, doing the voting. We need to have a committee, that a screening committee. Suppose out of all these films, say 50 films have come into goes to the jury. Out of the 50 films, we could do a screening, which we do in every other technical awards we do. Oscars, MPSC, CIS, BAFTA, every other award we do screening to find out if this film is an original work of art. Is it inspired from some innate Korean film or some other Iranian film that we have not seen, or some God forsaken country where somebody has seen it in some movie or in YouTube somewhere down the line, and we picked up some idea and made a film which is on overall it looks like an Indian film. So we need to have a screening committee that would say that okay, this film is truly original and this is for to be judged. So that takes care of a lot of issues. Then what is government of India doing? They are collecting 40% of entertainment tax. Okay, we are a film going community. We are our only we don't take vacations. Okay, Indians don't take vacations, barring a few percentage of Indians. The only vacation that we have is every weekend we go and watch a movie with the family. That's our outing. 100 rupees ticket, 40 rupees they're giving to the government. What is government of India doing in return? Running two film schools, having this festival or few other festivals. We, we have an India pavilion. We have an India pavilion at Cannes, which is the biggest pavilion ever. Okay. Other than that, what is truly government of India doing towards enriching Indian cinema in this country? I would say nothing. Why can't government of India set up a fund and to have some tie-up with one of the biggest PR agencies in America and say that look, we are sending this film this year. Okay, I'm saying a small percentage of the entertainment tax that you're collecting, 0.00001%, which will be a $1 million or a $500,000. Now, if a film gets selected, it is up to the poor producer to do all the pushing there. He can't make it unless it's a triple R. You can't make it. Okay, why can't we create a film fund? I mean, I'm imagining this film might eventually become India Pavilion in future, but I'm saying as a beginning, as a start, we could have a very healthy, you know, streamlining of if you want to push the film to the Oscars, that's the world stage. We could do if we do two things, 90% of the problems get sorted out.
Thank you. These are great suggestions. I did want to say that, well, Scorsese won an Oscar for a reason. So I think a work of art is very, very subjective. We are in a subjective industry, right? So what are the odds of winning? One needs to know that because this is an award and the stats are really not in our favor. 110 years of Indian cinema, we've never won once. For foreign language categories.
No, no, yes.
For foreign, I know there are all other categories, but we are only debating about how the selection process can get fine-tuned with our limited knowledge and experience. And if till the time the fund happens, till the time big policy decisions happen of moving tax,
Fun can happen tomorrow.
please make it happen. Make it
It
happen.
can happen tomorrow.
We can impanel five publicists, all of that. But till that time, we can also have a list of do's and don'ts, which is the strategy behind trying to get shortlisted. Trying, not winning, but move. What are the highest chances of something to move forward? Has to be considered on the table.
And
while
while
we
not
take decisions.
assuming that it's all being done for films that are definitely above
good.
the
Are good.
yeah.
But I think we should go back to Guneet number one, and because at the very beginning you said something that I thought was very interesting, and that is the way that you plan a film, right? You pick the biggest prize out there and try to make it to that prize, right? I think the biggest prize is not should be as we think about it here. The biggest prize that
But that could be a personal ambition.
but Parasite won Best Picture, right? And we
Cinema
should.
has the biggest soft power.
No, I'm just saying.
Putting our
I
skin.
totally agree. I'm saying what you should be trying to do is figure out a strategy that gets you to Best Picture and maybe also Best Foreign Language. but get you to
But
that
who
stage.
See, that's what I
distributed
say.
Parasite?
That is
Please say, who distributed Parasite? So,
Yes, but
American distributor.
yes. But my point is not that. My point is, Parasite went in as a foreign film, okay, from that country.
yes,
But like I said, when the Americans see the true talent, you know, it also went into the mainstream
The
Oscars.
yes,
distributor
And it
there
won it.
and the campaign.
And it and, no, and it won Best Picture,
yes,
Best Director, Best Foreign Film. I'm saying when the American community, the artists, the Academy members, when they see true talents, they lap it up.
That is
They take it
exactly
forward.
what is distribution
That's
called.
what she's saying.
That is what a distribution
would
is
make it
called.
more noticeable. That's
So any foreign language film that has won has had mainstream American distribution. It's just logical. They've not distributed from Korea and Iran, and I think what Korea has done is the best strategy that we should follow, which is about and it is not about personal ambition or whatever. It is more about taking our people, our community, our language, our color, our experience forward as India, and we are best in the world in every scenario in terms of every category that makes you a best film. So best film is a combination of so many energies coming together, leading to the producer at the center of it. But what I really wanted to say here was that literally all the and it's actually beautiful in many in the last few years. Korea has really gone up the exploded everywhere digitally, and now the distribution is actually with Netflix. Case in point, Elephant Whispers. Case in point, Period Under Sentence. The distribution with Netflix has become global. There is a new world order, right? Which is not cinema to cinema, but it's also new world order, which is dot com, which is Shorts TV, which is Netflix, which is and they are an American studio that is taking your film, putting it on a platform. Hence, they are distributors and they are exhibitors because they are a platform, and they then run the campaign and they guide you. They put in their resources, their years of knowledge on the table, which is very difficult to acquire otherwise alone. And we did not spend 2 decades making films in America. And this is an American award. So there is a logical conversation to whatever I'm trying to say. Um, and case in point, because I just need to say that it is a little bit of a soft spot, lunchbox. Um, a global uproar happened. Festival directors from around the world wrote that it's a bad decision. And NFDC was at the center of both the films. Both the films were there. And I'm for a decade one is healed and one is being like, because of course it's an opportunity. Even forget it that it was my film, it was the country's opportunity to go forward. There was many press articles written about the choice being wrong because this year it was with Sony Picture Classic on it, and an independent film, a co-produced. 45% of the money was India. It was very hard to make the full production happen. There was a lot of fuss in that, technically and everything. But this year another article happened, which I a decade ago I had forgotten, and it was Indie Violence, mainstream. And I didn't even know somebody's tracking my career, and there was a line there that Gurneet Manga was robbed of an Oscar eating lunch for. And here she is with Television Whispers. This is not my line. It was an IndieWire article. Please watch it. Please see it on your own. I had forgotten about because decision making is at if the decision making has to be well informed in terms of strategy, in terms of quality, and both of them together make our best chances.
Fair point, fair point. This is the classic heart and head debate, though I would continue to say that Rasul is coming from a place of pure heart and saying that there needs to be a concerted effort by the country to also look at the underdogs and not the ones that are privileged enough, because the privileged ones can look at alternate means, just as Kalra had suggested. And I remember having a discussion with Amir Khan many years ago when Lagan got
Sony Picture Classic.
nominated. Yeah, so he did at that point mention that it is that exhausting process of campaigning, lobbying, spending whole lots of money. When RRR decided to go on its own, I remember newspaper articles talking about an 80 crores being, kept aside just for the campaigning, lobbying part of it. So maybe that's a point which, the jury members should,
No, it's a system.
But if I can just say, even in the campaigning is becoming such a big thing now in every single category, even in the short films, the campaigns have started. My inbox is full, massively overwhelmed. My Facebook feed, LinkedIn, everything has 400 ads a day or something for different little movies. It is a big onslaught. There is I would say now a global recognition that an Oscar is an Oscar, whether you win an Oscar in a short film or an Oscar in a picture, with the same prize, and it's great. And if you were, and one of the lovely things about being an Academy member is everybody is excited about everybody. It's really cool. So I think I'm just saying I think we really should. The campaign is intense.
is
It's a,
intense
no,
and
it's a,
vital.
and actually, no, I don't even want to say that campaigning is also a journey. Like you're fundraising, right? You can't be disillusioned about things get made with money, right? They don't get made in with exchanging food, right? So you need money, and you have a hat on. You have a strategy to raise the money. You're crowdfunding. You're taking your uncle's money. You're putting your own. You're taking money from a student, right? Whatever is the process, it's a process, right? And that process is very well understood by everybody. Campaigning is a process. And who are the people who have learned that art? Like if you are a HOD in sound, I'm a producer, there are HODs in production designing. This is you need an HOD who is a publicist and who can run campaign and who's done this for 500 films or 100 films, right? And that is largely a human like distribution. Largely, is distribution is not a bad word. I actually feel, I strongly feel that ideas are free. Each of us has 100 ideas. The magic lies in execution, on how one executes, how beautiful the idea. It can be the most jaded, age-old, copied idea, but how have you internalized it and how original is your take on it? But the impact of the best made film lies in distribution. If you cannot crack distribution, you can make the best film, and unfortunately, very few people will see it. And to get to the best distribution is also the work of the producer and all of us. And awards, unfortunately or fortunately, comes in the section after distribution, because only after it is heard, seen, celebrated, you get a filmfare or you get an award, you get a national award. Yeah.
So not an either or, it's a combination of
It's a
actually
journey
both.
of a
It's a
film.
journey.
It's a journey.
On that note, I'd have to go to the audience for some
But I,
questions.
but
quick
I
questions.
have to still make the rejoinder. It's saying that selection of a film from such a diverse country, diverse filmmaking, we should also look at the possibility of the distribution, visibility, and all that. I think it's very very unfair. It's a very very unfair
There's a
statement.
very unfair
It is
statement.
it has a validity, but at the same time, it is very unfair. Unless and until the country as a missionary, we want our films to go global recognition and to be there. Then we as a country, we as a system need to put in certain machinery to hold it down for the filmmakers. If I mean, otherwise, it's just throwing things to the walls, and I don't think that is.
It is just sorry, I'll just say that even Lagan has studied the classes, and it is years of that experience on how to do it. Is not our expertise. Is not my expertise. I know how to make a film, and I know how to make the best version of a story. But then you need partners, and as a country, it has to be a partner. That's all.
See, for example, 2005, I think there was a film called Crash, which won the Best Picture. It was a very, very,
Canadian film
yeah, it's a very, very small film, and it just caught up.
had American distribution.
Of course, of course,
Of course.
Fox Searchlight had the wisdom to pick up the movie, and because they saw something in it. So for some dog. If it wasn't for Fox
American
Searchlight,
distribution.
yeah,
It was not done by the yeah.
that's what
By
I'm saying.
Pathé, the
That
British
that
finance.
means I'm saying those films were small little films. they themselves haven't imagined that they will go to that level. You know,
They did elephant
certain
scripts,
certain journeys
but
are
not
just like
Netflix.
that. You know, I mean, that keeping as a criteria, I think it is very unfair. Guni,
Perfect.
But I just want to say we are in an unfair situation because we are actually many countries. We are many languages in one country. Okay, so we are anyways on an unfair ground. We get to send one film. So we have so many languages and as cinema, we are actually many countries because there is a full on Tamil market, there is a full on Telugu market, Malayalam market, Hindi film market, uh, Gujarati, Bengali, Punjabi, Bhojpuri. There is a whole so many languages, and there are films happening in Orissa. You know, we are anyways playing an unfair ground, and we
no,
have to send one film
no, Guni,
as a country.
that's not correct. I mean, there are countries who have the same situation. Like for example, take Russia. There are Ukrainian films. There are films from
Ukraine has many languages.
as I'm saying before the
No,
USS started.
no. But
It had the same
we are a very
it had the
unique
same
nation.
equation.
We have 10 good filmmaking industries here, funded, celebrated, all of that. In all of that, we are very capable of making good films across languages, right? But we can only send one.
Yeah,
So that one needs to have its best chances and needs to have the best people on it, the
but that's
best
why
soldiers on board.
I don't think chances
That
is
one
a
needs to be the
criteria.
best.
The
That
chances
is
is
why
a
we've never
criteria.
won it.
I mean, having said all this, I personally believe that if we had sent Lunchbox in that year, it had some chances. You know, I totally agree with you. But having said that, I also encourage by the committee's decision, they stood very firmly on the ground saying that
It's a bad
no,
decision.
we are not sending that film, but we are sending this film. You know, that also need courage. I mean,
It's a bad decision.
how
I don't
yeah,
know.
if how many national awards I have lost, yeah? You know, I do respect the
Correct.
committee's decision.
It's just okay. Then across British, American, Canadian publications writing about it. It's not me alone talking about
I
it.
really
I'm
wish
not.
the
Oh,
Hindi
come
wire
on. I
article
mean,
didn't touch
हमने
the
हमने क्या
soil.
चॉइस बना दिया वो चॉइस गलत है करके बाहर गांव में बहुत लोग बोलेगा उसका
हर गांव में ये हर किसी का वोट नहीं
I
है.
mean, how does it matter?
It matters to me. It matters to
I
us
have
that
to
country what.
But can I just make a point? I just think we should, if we had just stuck to short films the whole time,
We want
we would
to.
have won an Oscar and we wouldn't even argue. Because there are too many short films to win. And I think, I just have to say, I think,
That also needs distribution.
No,
Right? That also like I want to. But I mean, you cannot individually go and you can maybe be in San Francisco and lobby enough and get shortlisted or get nominated, but you still need to be heard, seen, and distributed. And a campaign needs to be run even for short films. Nothing comes easy. It's a huge award, it's a lot of work, and there is no money that you get with it. And it's a lot of work that you have to do for 3 months there. Put yourself out there. No people, no voters. This list does not come to you. It's not people you can knock on your door and you'll be like, hey, you're a voter. There are 10,000 of them. And you have to do blanket marketing. You have to do marketing which is across and it's expensive, right? So that is without that knowledge, without strategy, without partners, I mean, it's impossible to do. It's like,
Fair point. Points taken. Just two questions, and these need to be like really brief questions. Sorry, no statements, just very specific questions. Yes, the gentleman there, if somebody could. Oh, this.
hello ma'am. My name is Pushkar.
Okay, sir, I'll leave. Yes, please go ahead.
We are filmmakers. My name is Pushkar, and we just want to know the 10 steps to go to Oscar. Like one.
10 steps.
go to festival, win an award, get distribution, and hope that your country selects you.
Even if you didn't do all that, just be. Paulo Coelho says, "You pray to the universe will conspire to make it happen."
Just dream, go to sleep.
While the head and the heart have given different answers to that, sir.
Okay, but I think the key first step, and it's a very important step, is a short film, a documentary feature, a feature film. is getting it selected in festivals. If you're going to get your film seen, uh, it really is important for every category to have it seen and celebrated at festivals. And Indian films are not seen at festivals outside the country very often.
Even in shorts, when you see the basic criteria is to win awards, win the Best Film Award at qualifying festivals. That is exactly what I'm trying to say, even in features. You can't be in your room making the best film. You need to get out there, win validation from anywhere around the world, and then go forward to the next step. It's leveling up every time with your piece of content and vision.
Absolutely. So visibility and being seen at the festivals. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening,
Go ahead.
Winning at festivals.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Your wonderful last word is good. Very good evening to the esteemed panel. Very happy conversation and very happy about number one. Number two, this Oscar, what was the promotion for Oscar? It can be for the other international films by the government of India. We have too much on the Oscar part. The other festivals like Kanda and Art should be promoted is my request. The film people are here. The government agent, please take it up. Please promote the other.
Stepping stone, sir. Sundance can. Everything is stepping stone.
Number three, please carry to the academy my point that this one film category has to be abolished. Like the racism to be abolished because it has to be one world, one global, and that has to be one film category, not one mix.
So there is international Emmys. There is international Emmys.
Outsiders again.
There is international Emmys, and maybe that will happen one day. But even Emmys, there is Emmys and there is international Emmys. So international is the whole world, right? And one is an English language award. It is amazing genius that they have built it to be the most prestigious award. Even BAFTAs is amazing, and there is a foreign language category. So that is the way the world works. The world will not change as per you, but maybe you can learn more on how to navigate this world.
Rasulina and Gurneet, but we just don't have time, so very quick. One last thing.
About both of them. Like, I have only one.
Question, why people? Please, give only 10 minutes. It's not enough. Missing
Let people ask, please.
Please let people ask. Yeah, why are they panicking?
15 minutes.
It's okay. 10 minutes. We will sit.
I have heard both one
Quickly.
Oscar. Yeah. So was told by Mahesh by Monga. Is Oscar validation for a good movie?
Ask yourself that.
No, no, I'm just asking you since you both are one Oscars.
Can you make a bad film and win an Oscar?
There are very bad movies didn't get an Oscar, but this one. So my only question is, since I heard both, or Rasul told, you told, I only from you people. Let me answer you in one simple way. Spielberg made almost all successful films all over the world. Like he's the biggest successful filmmaker ever. Okay, but he never won an Oscar until he made Schindler's List. So
There's somebody there who wants to ask.
You,
One
you
second, sir.
people
One
have
second.
always been, inspiration to all the people, all the filmmakers here. And so definitely the Oscar did make a lot of it. You have made us all dream. So I would definitely say that it means a lot to a lot of filmmakers. And since the distribution part, which is the main key thing that you've been talking about, Guneet, I just have one question. How will an Indian film, two questions to that. How will an Indian film be made aware to an foreign distributor, American distributor,